Hello and welcome, George Mason University. Welcome to another Overwatch stream. Tonight will actually be an Activision Blizzard collegiate match. So this is week 5 of a different league. You've been watching CSL so far on stream. Here we're now over on YouTube because Bring More Setups is happening. Smash at GMU, which happens every Friday. So that's why we're here on the YouTube. Anyway, I'm Hamster Quest. I'm joined here by the Griff.
That's me.
That's
happy to be back and joining my man Eric here with another Overwatch game.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm glad you're as available as you are for these.
Drop everything for GMU OW.
Absolutely. That's what my other casters that I've had along the months, they don't understand that. You know, one of them might be a player on the team, but
yeah, that's no excuse.
That's
right?
no excuse, man. I should be able to mic you and have you cast while you play. But anyway, so that means we have a different record in this league. It's currently 5-3, and you need to be at least 7-3 to make playoffs. So we have a match today, right now, against University of Minnesota, and tomorrow. I've forgotten the team. It might be Alabama. That might have been the team we were assigned, but are no longer. Anyway, we'll check that later. But anyway, we got 2 matches coming up in more than one way, because we have, after this one will be the CSL match against ODU, but tomorrow will be the last ABC match. Should get that streamed as well. Anyway, University of Minnesota is definitely going to be a tough match. So we're going to be in for our money, taking a ride for our money. They're going to take our lunch money. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Save me. Griff, get me out of this mess.
Man, I don't know what you're doing. I'm just confused by the summoner icons that these players are using, but I digress. I'm also lost. Yeah.
Right now we got the ABC screen up right now. I'm trying to keep it out of this.
Thank God. Yeah, keep it friendly. These guys are wild in here.
But yeah, so we need to win both the match tonight at 7:30, which is right now, and tomorrow at 7:30 against whatever team we're playing. And we have some tough opponents for sure. So UMN historically has been a pretty good team. If you've heard the name Pizza Pirates come around, they've been as high as 4.4. I don't think they're quite there this season, so GMU is a bit lucky that way. But of course, this isn't our strongest semester scrim SR wise, so it's still going to be a very close match. Honestly, if I had to put money on the match, I might have to put it on UMN, but GMU has been doing pretty okay in scrims recently. We had an extra VOD review with our coach, so I think they should be coming into this match pretty warm. There's warm up, and they've definitely taken preparations. I don't know if they've done enough scouting for UMN. I think if UMN's going to be playing anything other than meta, I think that would prove a problem for GMU. But if we see on meta and GMU seems warmed up, then I think that will be a very good sign. We'll find out pretty much right away. We're going to start out on Oasis.
Damn, a smooth transition there.
I just knew they were going to start. So let's see. GMU is going to be starting on the left side. I don't have the right picture for UMN, actually. So let's change that graphic real quick.
It's a little mouse with an M on it.
Yeah. I'll just draw it and paint,
Excellent.
So, oh my gosh. I totally forgot that was going to be a thing. But we've played UMN before, so I actually might have a picture. Otherwise, I'm going to have to say, this is what we're running with. It still has VW up. What's the time on the clock?
We got about 15 seconds until the round begins.
All right, I'm making it happen.
Clutch moment for Hamster Quest coming in when it comes to the graphics.
Change the graphics. Give you a countdown.
4, 3, 2,
I could do
1.
it.
I'm now the voiceover. I'm Athena.
I didn't get the color, but we're in.
Like this. This is something new to me as an old player. Is the Symmetrous flip starts?
Yeah, right.
Very
and
cool. Gets to the point earlier. George Mason going to be the
one
ones taking control of the point initially. Have to burn their frisbee pretty early, but keeps their players alive for the moment. Just a little brawl going on right now. There is an interesting sort of flank here. Minnesota Diva is going to remech. Oh, and Cassidy and Reinhardt fall down for George Mason. They're going to have to make their way back and give up the point in the meantime.
Shadow comes out
Shadow
already.
in the back line catches one, and George Mason's going to instantly flip the fight as soon as they lose the objective. So
that's quite funny. They were kind of using themselves falling down in the hole as like a bit of ebb and flow. Of course, there's a Mega down there to get some health, so even if you're not in line of sight of BAP, you get some healing, and they're able to retake the point with that Earth Shatter. So that was actually very well played from George Mason. Yeah. They have the sim on the other team that UMN has been trying to make use of, and it hasn't been working out completely, but they've been getting a lot of ult charge already. Reinhardt getting into the action. Matthews getting a lot of damage. He has the Rhine diff right now. Looks like they have forced out UMN back to spawn. Now they're coming up on more ultimates for the next fight.
Yeah, just a really good ability to communicate and read the battle there from George Mason. Like you said, when the Cassidy and the Reinhardt fall down, they just immediately back up and give Minnesota the point because they know that they can retake it in just a second. So I really like that. They're going to be holding back on the point here. Minnesota's going to come in. They're going to expend some ultimates instantly, but the wall delays the time for George Mason. Going to be broken pretty quickly, though, and they're just going to fall back and respect the ultimates. Ibing's going to come in and pop the May ultimate. Bomb comes in but doesn't land anything, and Window's going to be invested as well. Niner finds one on the high ground. Beat invested. It's pretty back and forth here so far. First Shatter in the back line, though, flips the point for Minnesota, and Window's going to, or the Lamp, excuse me, going to keep everyone alive. 2 members remaining here for George Mason, but it's just a formality as Minnesota is going to flip the point and push the team back.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an unfortunate flip. GMU was looking to rotate their ultimates, which they were doing pretty well. I don't think they were quite prepared for that engage from UMN. Started with the sim wall. They had the McCree on the flank, who didn't quite to do as much as he wanted to in the fight until the sim wall went down. They had a good chance at the May ult, but no dice. They did get the point percentage to 60, though. GMU trying to stay alive here. They've already lost Cassidy. Reinhardt goes down. Abinks follows. So it's just the beat committed from UMN there. GMU, no ults committed, so they have a chance at the next fight here. There's a little duel going on between the Lucias, but Zapad able to make it back up. Now they're ready for their next push as soon as right spawns.
Yeah, Minnesota going to have the Earth Shatter and the Baptiste window coming up for this one, and they have an Earth Shatter to match on George Mason's side, so it might be about who can get off a clean Earth Shatter first here at this fight. They're going to pop the Baptiste window and try and get some damage on the shield, but George Mason just rotates away from it and completely ignores it. Gets a great shatter out of Matthew. 3 down on the ground. He's frozen, but they're going to take the fight anyway, clearing house. Really good job there from George Mason. I like that they've done it a lot this game, where if they see a fight that they might have a disadvantage in, they take a step back and they rotate and find a better angle to attack from. Really good job there. Really play.
Absolutely great ebb and flow from George Mason. They haven't lost any fight where they had business losing, right? As soon as they realize it's losable, they go on the ebb and flow, and then they take a better fight that's advantageous for them. So now they're holding the choke. They're going to throw the window out early. They have the high noon on the flank, and actually the wall sends them up instead of walling him off. Unfortunately, that doesn't play well for George Mason as he goes down. They're going to commit the May ult as well, so May ults on top of each other right now. Zappat has the beat, though, so he's able to keep GMU up. They have numbers, and now as the ticks go towards 90%, UMN is just fighting to maybe get a chance to contest here. They have Cassidy on the high ground, right? He's going to take that out with another melee. Now, Niner on the Doom as well. It looks like they don't get a touch, and that's going to be a round win for George Mason.
Yeah, Niner goes down early there when the wall goes up, but Minnesota seems to overcommit for that kill, and Anform on the Baptiste is just free hitting the entire time. Actually picks up 3 kills there. It's the crazy thing about Baptiste is sometimes when going's rough, he can just turn into a 3rd DPS and shred the back line. So really great job there. Also keeping the stalls from coming in at the end. George Mason takes the first point. And we're going to go ahead and head into the second iteration of Oasis here.
Yeah, as I was saying at the beginning of this match, that's exactly the start we wanted to see from George Mason. We didn't want to see anything too wacky. The sim is a bit of something that was wacky, but George Mason could handle it. It's not the strangest thing. They have played it. That has been a meta comp before. Now they're over on 6-man dive, so they have that that round win. They have the pressure on UMN to win these next 2 rounds of Koth, and so GMU's feeling a little bit comfortable, but staying sharp. As you can see, they're now in 6-man dive. They're feeling out the enemy here, who's taking a brawl in the corner where GMU doesn't really want to play, but they find a split member, which is going to be the Cassidy on the high ground. IXR is going to get low. No ghost form for him. No phase. Wraith, I guess is called. Matthew getting quite low here now. The Brawl has better sustain, so even though they do get the pick early, they're going to fall down in this fight as the Brawl takes away the rest of the members of George Mason there.
Yeah, and just unfortunate for Binks. He gets a good position at the beginning of the fight, but they turn on him, Minnesota does, really quick, and they delay any hack from coming on the Reinhardt, so bit of an unfortunate start to that fight, and Minnesota does eventually take it. Binks is on the high ground right now, looking for a nice hack onto the Reinhardt again, looks like, or really anyone he can get. Gets it onto the D.Va, so no defense matrix for this fight. George Mason's going to pile in. Earthshatter goes down, but doesn't seem to hit anyone. It's neck and neck right now, as many members are going down. It's a 3-on-3 right in your face. Is going to be popped out into the mini and goes down. Looks like it's going to be a close one. George Mason is taking the point, but it's still anyone's fight right now. They're going to get the Reinhardt low, and he does go down. But it's still not flipped yet for George Mason. The staggers are coming in, though, and Minnesota going to pop the D.Va bomb here. Doesn't get anyone with it. George Mason able to hide in time, and it looks like it's going to eventually flip in George Mason's favor.
Yeah, that was a
surely
very close fight. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, GMU... I didn't see exactly what all the turning points were in those fights, but they do have a fast... Each of their members have a bit more mobility than UMN, so they're able to kind of stagger onto the point and get more members faster. So that 2v2 that lasted for a while, they had the Lucio stay up just long enough specifically, and then GMU was able to recontest the point and eventually flip it over. So they're going to open with the EMP here, but May does not get EMP'd, so they're going to use that freeze to split George Mason and make them not fully commit. But the Coalescence is great for sustain as well as getting picks here, as that do be the signature of Coalesce to deal damage and heal at the same time. So it's a great ult that GMU uses to win this fight now, and they're tying up on the percentage on the board.
Yeah, it's it apparently doesn't matter if it's Baptiste or the Moira. Anform is gonna find some kills in the fight either way. Great EMP from a Binks to start off that fight. On the flank once again, looking for a nice hack. Instantly got though by the D.Va from Minnesota, and well, doesn't matter as long as the Binks sticks around. He's gonna eventually get the hack. The beat is popped here, but not really to much effect to really save any damage on it. High Noon's going to go up as well, but doesn't find anything either. 2 ultimates going out for Minnesota, but not finding anything. But it doesn't really matter if the ultimates get value. They make space, and they get 2 kills on George Mason in the meantime. Matthew and a Binks going down early, and right your face going to be popped out of the mech. So it looks like all is going to end well for Minnesota, despite the ultimates not finding anything in that fight. Zaphat just doing their best to get a bit more percentage on the clock for George Mason, and he's going to flip right back.
Yeah, GMU had played, I guess, exactly the way he wanted to. As soon as like 2 ults came out from UMN, you just have to give that space and then try to retake. Unfortunately, they didn't really have any ults for themselves to really get enough value to make that retake worthwhile, but it wasn't exactly the worst fight that George Mason was hoping for, so they did get that value in the ult economy. Now they have 2 flankers. They have been having those 2 flankers, but Binks and Nine are trying to get an advantage in this fight, but UMN taking a very aggressive and fight in the chokes. They're going to commit that BAP ult, and the window goes down as well. Binks sees a great opportunity to get an EMP. It's pretty massive, but the first pick in the fight is going to be Matthew. The percentage is ticking up. This is going to be last fight. Unfortunately, GMU and UMN getting both very low in the fight, but it's going to be UMN coming out on top. They had the Death Blossom to close it.
Yeah, really big from the Lucio and the Baptiste on the side of Minnesota. They just continue to kite back in that fight, and the Cassidy and other characters from Minnesota go really low, but none of them are taken down. It was Niner that was in the background there on the Tracer, trying to get a kill, but the defense matrix on top of everything just made it impossible, and they eventually were able to turn that one around.
Yeah, the ironic part about playing 6-man dive against Brawl is you actually have to play slower. And at the beginning and a few other important parts of that point, they were able to do that. But in those last fights there, UMN was just playing too fast. GMU didn't have enough space, and they lost members too quickly in order to get value. So GMU now switching over to the ball composition. It's mostly mirrored on the other side. Hopefully this will prove a little bit better for GMU.
The big difference here is that George Mason's going to pick up the Echo instead of the Sombra on the side of Minnesota. So going to be up to who can maybe get more value out of their specific flex DPS picks here. Minnesota going to take the high ground early. George Mason content to give that up. Doesn't matter much when the point unlocks, when it's really going to matter. I like this. They actually sort of take the high ground that's available in the middle with the 2 characters that can. And going to get some initial percentage on the point. Hammond going to drop down from Minnesota. Pop in, see what kind of space can be taken. Counter drop from Matthew. Everyone just going to continue brawling. No one going down yet. Matthew does get hacked and caught out there, though, so that's a pretty good start for Minnesota. Banks trades back onto the Brigitte, but the enemy Tracer does get a trade. And it's 1-for-1 all across the board right now. Going to be a matter of who can stay longer, and it looks like it might be George Mason with Zapat. The Brigitte going to be able to heal everyone up on point, meanwhile combating. Going to give it one last try for here Minnesota, but it's just a formality, it would seem. Hammond and Tracer going to do their best to keep things up, but eventually George Mason going to take the point here.
Yeah, UMN finally falling out here. They don't get that Hammond pick, but don't quite need it. I was afraid that they were going to lose that fight as soon as they lost in Zenyatta, which is a majority of the damage, but miraculously, a Bink stays up despite getting low multiple times, and he's able to get some of the picks, and the fight was equalized enough that just the members of George Mason that had great positioning in the back there were able to get enough value to eventually flip that fight in their favor. Now, as we can see, UMN trying to take control of this mega side on the cliff by the cars, which was the original position that George Mason was set up in. So now Zen has to rotate, but Niner actually gets the first pick in the fight. Matthew's getting a little bit low. He doesn't want UMN to touch the point right now, so he's going to throw the mines out early. Binks is making use of that space to try to get some damage in, right, getting close as well. But GMU sent to Peel. They'd go for a small hit, just Niner and Matthew involved. They're forced out. Currently, UMN's now 6 members strong. They're trying to spam out this Hammond in the middle, who's making the most space. But they do have to really worry about this EMP. It's going to be up to Amform and Zapat. I was going to say to use their ults, probably not at the same time. Now they're getting really aggressive here. Now that now that trance is over, EMP comes out, so Amform is going to go down. There's not enough rally health for him to stay up. Now the rally's coming out from UMN, so a little bit of the overlap of the ults caused George Mason to maybe not have a good enough chance in that fight to win it.
Yeah, unfortunate. George Mason started to get on the back foot, and I like the response from a Binks to sort of copy the Echo, or not the Echo, the Echo copying the Hammond from the other side, sort of taking over Matthew's spot while he can go around and get some health up, but it's just not enough. They stall it for a while, which is good. They did have the point. They're going to end up with 75% at the end of that, but not enough to sort of propel Minnesota in that fight. Matthew's going to make their way to the back line and actually come in contact with the Sombra on the side of Minnesota. A bit of an interesting occurrence there, knocking into someone who is invisible, just stealthing around. And George Mason looking to attack the point here, but Matthew's not exactly ready for it. They're going to get Anform early, and like you said, that's a big part of the DPS here. Niner does answer back. Both Zenyatta's down in this fight, and I think he's going to find one more, but going to go down immediately after that. These fights are very close, but it looks like at the moment Minnesota's going to come out on top of this one. Niner and right in your face. Fighting 1v1 duels against their opposing characters. Both of them going to DMAC.
Oh, it's going to be close now, but both teams have their members coming up. 6-on-6 again, but the point is currently on UMN's side. Unfortunately, the EMP hits all members of George Mason other than Matthew in the back line. But UMN also trances on top of that, so now the fight kind of ebb and flows. GMU has advantage here, and they're going to push hard off of it, and they're able to get 2 picks immediately, so getting a huge value here. The supports are not online for UMN, and GMU do have at least Brig in the fight, so they're going to sustain this fight through the Brig heals alone, and they're able to push very fast in order to win that fight.
Yeah, great job for George Mason. They were fighting so long, even I started to get tired, but they eventually worked their way through it.
They were able to keep their wits through the whole thing.
It ended up being a 1v1 between the 2 Tracers and the 2 Divas. It still went even, but George Mason just able to get back to point a little bit quicker and use their abilities in a fashion to get everyone off. I think's going to clone the Diva at the start, so we're going to have 3 tanks here on the side of George Mason. Bomb's going to go up right in your face. Not going to get anybody, but on the back of that Inform, fragging as always, going to take down 2. Both the supports from the side of Minnesota, they're not going to have a lot of sustain here in this fight, but they're going to do their best to stall anyway. Minnesota's Tracer staying on the point, going to have to be forced to recall Inform, using the Transcendence just to make sure nobody goes down, and George Mason going to clean that fight out and take Oasis.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely well played from George Mason. They came out hot today, and this is exactly what I was looking to see in order for them to top a team like UMN. So this is some great Overwatch. Rusty Goomba does get the play of the game on Lucio. So this is the brawl that happened a little bit too quick. Unfortunately, Matthew did get charged in the fight. I'm not quite sure exactly why this is a Lucio play of the game, but he does seem to be spreading the damage. And getting all those elims, of course, Overwatch cares about. If you helped, you get an elim.
Just any little tickle of damage. In some other games, you have to hit a certain threshold, but in Overwatch, it's just about doing the best you can with what you got.
Absolutely.
Mason, like you said, really good Overwatch. It was a close game for sure. There were definitely points where I thought that Minnesota might have all that they needed to run it through, but George Mason holding on and going to take the first map here as we head on over to Kings Row.
Oh, we went over there really quick. I was putting up the "We'll be our back" screen. But we're already in it. So UMN eager to play next. Not even asking if Prod is R. Just not a fan, gotta say. But I am a fan of how good this Overwatch looks right now. Which is
maybe they must have an idea or maybe not must, but they might have an idea of what they need to change and just eager to, get back in and try and win the next map. Maybe not exactly considering everything, but no worries. I'm
honestly
ready.
Yeah, I think GMU is happy to see that they're feeling pretty good after a map win. I know a lot of the times in traditional sports, this would be like the time to call a timeout to try to mess with their tempo.
Thing as momentum.
Yeah, and so GMU has the momentum going into this map. Of course, they're starting on defense, so they don't really get to set the precedent as much as they'd like to. UMN's going to get the opportunity to really engage when they want to, but that isn't always guaranteed. GMU could find an opportunity to push in very fast. We'll see exactly how that goes. It is a complete mirror match right now. GMU's playing the statue, but the good wall comes out for UMN first. GMU's going to respond with the wall of their own. Both Immorts are out, but GMU's goes down first, so they have to watch out and ebb and flow, but unfortunately they're not in a position to do so, so they are going to go down here, right? It's going to be probably the last member to go down, hopefully, but it looks like they may push down Amform and Niner that are running down the streets right now. They actually might convert a pick because a Zapat is behind, but they do have the heals. They have their BAP and Lucio ready for that as well, so that the tempo has been set for UMN exactly what they're looking for, unfortunately.
Yeah, and just a bit interesting for George Mason. They seem to get a good a wall there and block everyone in, but the Immortality field just stays up forever and keeps all of Minnesota alive, and they're able to turn it back. Looks like they're going to attempt the same thing here, but George Mason is either going to win the fight or Minnesota is no longer interested in pushing it. Yeah, there we go. More picks going to come through in the Diva D-Mech. They're going to force all the way back to Minnesota's spawn and eventually hold the cart here. Instead, deciding going to fall back. Not really the best position for them to play in. They're going to instead play around the choke here. Good job for George Mason to stop that push as soon as it started, and we're going to go right back into things here. Going to pop the window early. Maybe a bit too early as there's nobody in the sight lines, but Niner going to be in the back line. Doesn't find the high noon, though. Diva finds him on the high ground and going to take him out.
GMU has to watch out here being on this side of the choke. Of course, the May ult does come out. The bomb committed as well, but that's 2 ults coming out from UMN, so a fight's not over until it's over. GMU, of course, has the choke advantage here. They're trying to take down this Diva who does get frozen. Unfortunately, she does fly out, and they have to worry about this window coming out and high noon from UMN. So that's 4 ults committed without GMU responding with any of theirs. So honestly, that's a fight that they're kind of happy with, even though they don't get to hold the choke anymore.
Yeah, the good thing, at least playing in this sort of defensive setup, is that even though they pop the Baptiste ultimate there and Minnesota is hiding behind. They're still buying time, so it's not like it's that bad of a play from George Mason. Nine are in a great position on the back of that with a McCree, or excuse me, a Cassidy. High Noon doesn't find any picks, but I like the thought there, and gonna get pushed back. Sending the Diva Bomb in early, right in your face. Gonna get blocked by the Reinhardt from Minnesota, but Niner finds two when their heads are turned. Wall's gonna go up and sort of split the fight here. Zapad and Anform not able to find their way. Veed's gonna be committed, maybe just to secure the fight here, and George Mason once again gonna push Minnesota back to their spawn. Diva demeched here, just a little bit of ritualistic stalling. Gonna let her walk all the way back to the spawn.
I would hope that they let that walk all the way to the spawn, but they do get the Cassidy pick there as well. Yeah, GMU played that fight just perfect. They had the ults. They wanted to play fast, and that's exactly what they did. They made the space, and Matthew had a great play blocking the only ultimate that was available for UMN. It was the Shatter, and landing one of his own, so GMU confidently winning that fight. As they go into this next one, the corner is going to be looked to be held. It's going to be a Mail available on both sides. Fortunately, Niner isn't quite in position yet. He's going to throw out that Dragon to help as he gets there. He's going to rotate actually back to his side. It's going to be the Mail coming out on the side on George Mason. And they do get more value off of it. And surprisingly, UMN actually throws out the Mail really late here. So despite potentially getting, I think, a Vinx in that fight, it doesn't really play out well for UMN. So GMU really on top of the ultimate game right now.
Yeah, and I liked what Minnesota does there. Maybe it's standard play, but when the Baptiste window is committed, you put the wall up right inside of it. Makes it so it doesn't get any use. But that good play is sort of refunded when the Mayout comes out too late there. Minnesota definitely would have liked to have that this fight since it didn't accomplish as much in the last. And George Mason only going to have the Earth Shatter here. Working up towards some other ultimates. The Diva Bomb's going to be coming up shortly. Maybe that's a combo that they're going to look forward to on this choke. Nothing occurring just yet. Just a little bit of stalling here. Both the Rhines staying up. Here's the Diva Bomb coming in. Oh, Matthew gets stunned out of the Air Shatter. It's not going to matter, though. GMU gets two off the back of that, and they shatter afterwards. That's just as good. And Minnesota's going to back off here. They're going to take that fight as a loss and regroup for the next one.
Yep. When GMU has the choke or the corner advantage, they've been playing it right so far. They're playing it nice and slow because they didn't have the bomb quite ready to get thrown in. And as soon as they got it, they looked for a play, and it worked out for them. So GMU's doing quite well on that. Now they do have to be careful here because the window is available on both sides. They're going to commit two ultimates right away, so they're looking to keep up this aggressive tempo. Binks is trying to get on the Reinhardt and get the freeze. Doesn't quite get it, but a right click through the window does kill the other May on the side of UMN. He's going to push forward here with the help of Right, actually, who's demeched. So there's a split fight going on here. They have to watch out for Diva, who I thought was going to get on the cart. Actually does get out here. GMU not winning the fight super confidently, but getting exactly what they wanted to out of it, just pushing back UMN and just holding this corner once more. They still have the May ult available.
Yeah, that was I'd say for George Mason, you're going to be happy with that. Niner was in a bit of a precarious position in the back there, looking for a flank Dragon, but he actually gets found out by Minnesota's Diva and their Lucio, but just stays alive forever. And that buys George Mason enough time to win the advantaged fight on the back there. Could be walking up here. Earth Shatter and Blizzard going to be committed from both GMU and the Minnesota squad, but an Earth Shatter and a Blizzard is better than just a Blizzard on its own, so George Mason going to clean that fight actually really cleanly. And they're going to push up here for the final 5 seconds of the match. Minnesota doesn't really have any character that can move that fast.
Yeah, and they have the they have the window there as well to try to burst down anyone coming out of spawn. They did have the beat to sustain, of course. It was just way too far from the point, so GMU winning that off of the last fight, and that's a great spot to hold, especially when you lost first point so quick, to stop the UMN steamroll, get your ultimates, fix the ult economy, and then start rotating them throughout the next fights and get a good defense. So GMU's really on top of their game right now, and honestly, this is looking like GMU's gonna, I think, win this mat. I think Brawls really comes down to those macro fundamentals, and UMN doesn't seem to be as on top of it as GMU does. So Even though I said my money might be on UMN this match, the conditions were exactly right for GMU to win it. We still have to worry. It is a best of 5, so GMU cannot rest even if they do take this map. There's going to be other compositions, which, UMN did take a map or a round off of Koth on their brawl against GMU's 6-man dive, but they did win on the ball comp. So far, I think GMU's. I changed my prediction to a sweep. I think they'll win next map because it's going to be an escort, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Of course, they haven't even won this one yet, but there's no escorts that you really want to run 6-man dive on, and so both compositions that you'd expect to see kind of have already been won by GMU, but they did get a little bit lucky on the ball play. So again, this isn't over.
Start out mirrored here, save for the single hit scan DPS, which starts Niner and Hanzo, but switches over to the Ashe. Going to be making their way through the choke here. Wall doesn't go out yet for Minnesota. There's the walls. They're going to be both popped now. Matthew finds a nice into the mini.
No counter charge.
But Pink's going to finish that one off. Niner and Pink's going to combine for 3. Right in your face. Going to find the casting in the back line. Diva's doing their best on the side of Minnesota to stall the point. Lucio as well, with those characters fairly good at doing so, but in the end, George Mason going to take that one, and fairly convincingly.
That's exactly what we're hoping for. Of course, you want to take the first point as quick as you can so that you are at the advantage of the ult economy, as opposed to if you take it later, it may not be that way. So now they have the window available already on Anform. It's been performing quite well tonight. We'll see how they engage this point. It looks like they don't know Niners on the high ground just yet. Okay, they figured it out. Diva did scout that, and now he's on the low ground, so they don't have that available. Zapat trying to retake that space, gets booped out by the enemy Lucio. They still have to worry about how this choke exactly will be played, even though they have the window advantage. They're forced to kind of play slow here, which is exactly what UMN wants. GMU needs to play fast. Unfortunately, the wall is available for UMN, so they have to watch out as they go through this choke. But Matthew is able to stay alive and get his shatter. Another pin on the enemy Reinhardt that does not get counterpinned. And now GMU is up 2 fights to nothing, and they are in contention to take this to the end of the map, or where the point is.
Matthew playing really well around these Maywalls and these Baptiste Immortality fields, charging the enemy Rhine outside of them into a position where they can be taken down each time in these last 2 fights. Really great job from Matthew opening up here, and Minnesota going to be coming up on the point here, going to pop the window early, trying their best to just keep George Mason away from this field. Maybe Ryan's actually going to be charging into the back line. Bit of a goof there, going to be going down really quick. Bob's going to contest the point for George Mason, and they're going to turn that one right around. Maybe a bit overzealous from Minnesota, trying to keep George Mason away from the point. Now they're going to go into desperation mode, popping a couple ultimates. Going to be a high noon in the back line for Minnesota, and I may have spoke too soon. We're going to be able to hold the point here, but George Mason going to get it right to the edge. They got a couple of ultimates coming online, both the Lucio beat, the window from Baptiste, and another Earth Shatter from Matthew, so they're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, they're going to have the window and the beat and the Earth Shatter available. It's a little bit close in the ult economy. Of course, UMN could easily get that window in the next fight, but they could also open. GMU could open with the window here. They have to play fast because they're up in the ult economy. They're trying to get the wall first. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite connect, so they have to watch out here. They're going to wait for that cooldown as potentially there's going to be a little bit of a reposition from Niner, who's getting a little bit of a pocket from Zapat as he rotates in. Now GMU looking to play fast, gets the wall. It's the blizzard they have to watch out for on the side of UMN. GMU tries to respond with theirs. They're going to get some of the first picks here. Now the fight is not looking good for UMN. GMU is getting picks left and right. Of course, the Earth Shatter connects in the window used on both sides, but it's going to be GMU who comes out on top, moving 2 maps up in the series. Again, this is a best... Oh, wait. It's a best of 3. I lied.
You prepped us all for the
I was like,
game?
there's going to be a Dex map. That's CSL. I'm too used to CSL. Here, I'll switch it. So now, yep. Matthew getting play of the game. Of course, he played absolutely wonderfully today, so that's going to be great to see moving into the next match tonight, which I said I would reveal why the next match tonight is so important. I don't know what time it starts. I think it was supposed to be 8:30, but we might play it sooner. Just pay attention to the YouTube because we're going to switch it over. It's going to be a different link because that's how these things work on YouTube. It'll be GMU versus UMN. But before I talk about that too much, I do want to have some closing thoughts about this match, which was absolutely phenomenal from GMU. I think UMN was going to be the tougher of the two matches they had this weekend. So now GMU is looking like they may get that playoff spot. Of course, they needed to end with a 7-3 record. Currently, they're at a 6-3, so they just need that last win tomorrow on Saturday. I was really impressed with this play.
Yeah, no, me too as well. Especially in that last fight when both of the blizzards were popped. Matthew was the only one that got caught by Minnesota's blizzard, and just a Hail Mary immortality field comes out of the corner and keeps him alive for that whole fight, which he ends up finishing with an earth shatter. Just really good teamwork overall from George Mason. A lot of combination plays happening where they're just exactly aware of what each of their teammates are going to do, and it shows. It elevates your level of play and ends up with them getting the win here.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that has been GMU versus UMN, the University of Minnesota, that is. And next up will be that ODU match, which I will now clarify is going to be part of CSL. I think I have CSL on the screen right now. It's actually ABC, so I'm taking that off. It's not CSL, it's ABC. Again, we're playing in like 3 different leagues. I'm so sorry you have to keep track of all of them. But I haven't even mentioned the third one. The next match tonight will be the last match of NACE, or CSL as we call it. It'll be against ODU, like I've said. GMU is currently undefeated in that regular season there. So if they win tonight at, I believe, 8:30, I guess we have to wait for ODU to finish their ABC match as well, then that will be the first GMU undefeated season in GMU Overwatch history. I think I repeated myself a little bit there, but that's why tonight's going to be so exciting.
And we're all looking forward to it, hoping here, obviously on the George Mason side, that they can pull through and get that undefeated record. Definitely going to help them going forward into any of the playoff scenarios. Higher seeding's always better, in my opinion. Some people like to play games of like the lower seeding doing a lower price. Regardless, I think that higher seeding is always better. You want to show the best gameplay that you can, and George Mason doing that so far, going to look to continue on.
Yeah. Interesting fact, GMU originally had different teams assigned to them for this weekend, for Friday and Saturday, and I think they were technically weaker teams. Teams GMU were definitely favored to win against. And then when we saw the teams change here, I'll even check the team for tomorrow because this is an ABC broadcast. So I will fill you guys in for what's happening tomorrow on Saturday. It'll be against Kent State, which is definitely a strong team as well. So GMU can't rest yet. But as I was saying, we're going to be up against easier teams, and what that means for the tiebreaker score is not every team that's 7-3 actually gets to go on to playoffs. So getting to face harder teams like University of Minnesota and Kent State will mean that GMU has a better chance, based off of these teams' performance, to have a higher tiebreaker score. So unfortunately, UMN is now out of playoff contention. Hopefully they still play well tomorrow, get a W, as we hope. Kent State won their game tonight, and we hope GMU will beat them tomorrow just to help our tiebreaker score out a little bit. Of course, there's teams that are 7-1 playing tonight that might end 7-3 going 0-2 losses, and it'll be much harder to have a higher tiebreaker score against them. But anyway, that'll be it for right now until we find our UMN match. But I was going to say, don't go anywhere. You have to actually change the link here. You know what? I'll post it for you guys in the chat. We'll bring it all up for you, and then I'll close down the stream, and then we'll start the stream for UMN. For Old Dominion. So
Eric mentioned to all you that he thought that last game was a best of 5, so you should all be ready to watch more Overwatch. So even though that game's over, I expect to see everyone continue on to our next match here because I love you all so much, and I want you to keep hanging out with us. We have a great time here on the desk.
Okay, it seems like people are still confused in chat. Yes, tonight, the ABC match was a best of 3. It's done. We're done. BO3 ABC. I said it in the chat. Of course, they're going to hear me say that in 2 minutes. It doesn't say... Oh, I'm not live. Okay, now I'm live. Okay. Anyway, we'll see you guys for the ODU match in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere physically, but change your link to the one I posted in chat. All right. I've been Hamster Quest. I still am, joined by Griff. We'll see you at the ODU match.